Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Whitty's Gear Reviews. So since I've been doing this, one thing that we've tried to make the channel revolve around is decent EDC gear at on a budget. Some things that maybe you could start with, some things maybe you can move up to, and then at the end of the day, some things you could graduate into. So there's always going to be some things that are a little bit more expensive and some things that are cheaper. But it doesn't mean you can't have an EDC pack or a good EDC set. It doesn't mean that you can't build a bug out bag, and it doesn't mean that you can't have some quality stuff. The whole idea would be get what you can now, and when you can afford to, look at the things in the price range you want to be in and what can you replace a little later. But it doesn't mean you can't get started. I've had several people say in the comments on a lot of videos that they enjoy the fact that I'm not putting super expensive gear up. Like, I'm not throwing up a $400 knife that they know they could never afford. And even if they somehow scrape by to get the money, there's so many things in life they would actually use the money on before they bought a $400 knife. That being said, I also have some comments from people saying that they are on a set income and they would really like to get started having EDC stuff. They just don't know where to start, and being on a fixed income, they don't have a lot of money to spend. Those are the kind of people that I gravitate to, because at one time, I couldn't buy a lot of this stuff. I remember what it was like just barely getting by. I've got myself in a better situation now. And that's why I started this channel, because back in the day, people were carrying knives that I wish I could afford. People were buying flashlights. The first Streamlight I saw, and somebody told me how much they paid for it. I'm like, man, maybe one day, I hit the lottery and I could buy one of those things. So I know where it is, what it's like to start with what you can get. There was a lot of times it was bargain outlets, secondhand, Walmart, Kmart, where I got my hunting gear, where I got my camping gear. And some of that was a stretch. I can't tell you how many times I borrowed a tent, or some hunting gear or camping gear. That being said, let's look at some things. I went to Lowe's the other day and I was just looking around and I thought, what? Let me see what are some decent things I could buy at a very good budget. So here's our old Lowe's bag. And we're going to start with probably, the mediocre stuff, I guess. I mean, none of it's high dollar superstar stuff, but a lot of it you've probably seen before or heard of the company, or, somebody else has put on one of these channels. So let's start off with pins, right? They have all kinds of pins there. But these are the Klein Tool fine tip permanent pins. I like the angle that they have on these pins. It's not like a Sharpie. It's got kind of like a triangle shape to one end. It's got a good fine point tip on it. And, I do like the clip on these. They seem like a pretty stout clip. And looks like you have a place you could put a lanyard or a keychain so you can carry it on your belt or keep it in a pocket, shirt pocket, front pocket. But, these aren't, they have a decent pin that'll ride on a lot of stuff. Let me find the receipt, because I want to kind of go over the prices with y'all. So on these, and, it's a brand name. It's a Klein Tools Pin. So it's not super dollar store. I mean, I don't know where, it might be the same company that makes them, but it is a name brand pin. And you're looking at these things are 97 cents. So a 97 cents pin. I like the color of these. I like the blaze orange for hunting, camping. If you drop the thing, you could find it. A lot of tactical gear is made to not be seen, right? It doesn't have a reflective coating. They're camouflage colors, whether it be olive drab, coyote, black. Real hard to see if you drop it, especially at night. But you'll find this. But also, if you're trying to be concealed, it'll also stick out like a sore thumb. So you got to keep that in mind. But you're looking at your pin, 97 cents. So the next thing, and I didn't get a full loadout. I just got some things that I thought were a good bargain. You'll see these on a lot of channels, and I'll probably, you know, guys, for the money, this is probably the best keychain you could buy. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me something else that's out there. But these things they're strong, they're light. I mean, it says it'll hold 25 pounds. Stainless steel. This is the number 3, and it's the Night Eyes S-Beaner. I've got several of these, but I didn't have one in a package because I didn't want, you know, I wanted y'all to see that I actually bought it at Lowe's. And most of them are in use. So these things came in right at, what do we got here? Night Eyes S-Beaner, $3.58. I've seen plastic keychains in the convenience store that cost more money. You're not going to break this unless you're trying to break it. If you're just carrying keys, if you have it on your backpack to hold items on the outside of your pack for easy access, like your gloves, anything like that, flashlight, it's a great option. And it's a cheap option. And let's move up a little bit. We don't have a lot of items here, guys. I just wanted to kind of go into, you know, a few things. Then you got this, which is just a project source. So it's a kind of like Lowe's generic brand. But, hey, if you need a pocket tool, you've got one. So you've got a Phillips end there. And what I like is it comes out and you got a flat end on that side. But you can use it as a precision tool by itself. Or if you need a little bit more, you've got that. Now, you got to keep in mind, that's a plastic housing. Maybe ABS. It's a little bit thicker. But, you know, you can't put a lot of torque on that thing. But it's enough to fix some small items. And then you got a little bit bigger Phillips and a little bit bigger flathead. But for a pocket screwdriver, without breaking the bank, it's about the same size as the pin. Another thing I like, though, is you don't have to lose the caps, right? At least the caps go on from one end to the other, and it adds extension to it. So no matter which way you go, and then you've got your belt clip, or your clip. So you can clip it in your pocket, clip it on a bag, whatever. And these things they're cheap. You're looking at, that thing was $1.78 for a 4-piece screwdriver, pocket screwdriver. $1.78. You know, if you had one of these just in your, you know, if you carried it in a pocket, fixing eyeglasses, taking one of those little battery covers off a kid's toy or something, that would work. Small, you know, little small things. Taking a cover off of a lantern, you know, battery-powered lantern or anything like that, it would work. The next thing we're going to look at is this Lux Pro 40 lumen, upside down, 40 lumen light with a carabiner. It's also got a focusing LED keychain light. Easy carry flashlight. Slide focus. So basically all you're doing is narrowing your pattern or widening your pattern depending what you're doing. Now, yes, I understand 40 lumens, that's not super bright. But if it's dark outside, I can promise you it's better than no light. Any light is better than no light. And, you know, I see so many people using cell phones. I promise you this is brighter than your cell phone. And if you carry it every day, whether you like to conceal it and you hook that to the outside of your pocket and you slide the whole light inside your pocket, whether you're hanging it off your belt loop, clipping it to the outside of your pocket, if you wear, you know, a shirt with pockets to the, you know, to the pocket of your shirt. You can actually even hook it to the neck of your shirt, carry it up there if you want to. Now, there is no standard belt clip, so the only thing you're going to have is a carabiner to attach it. But, you know, hey, it's 40 lumens. It's nothing, you know, it's got flood and it's got spot. And I really don't think that's too bad. Right? If this is all you had, you could definitely navigate at night with it. Get down a path, find something in the dark. If you're stuck on the side of the road and something's wrong with your engine, low antifreeze or something like that, coolant, you could look under the hood and see what's going on in there. If you hit something and you need to look up underneath your car to see if you have damage, you can use that. If you're working on something, if you walk outside to go to the shed and you're like, oh crap, didn't bring a light. If you've got it on your in your pocket or on your belt loop, then man, you could check out what's in there and, you know, it's not bad. Now, and it's just got, you know, high and low. Or I mean, it's got on and off. There is no other modes. So it's got the one mode, but you can use it as a signal beacon because it has, you know, the rear button. So you could sit there and SOS and not really strobe, but you know, you've got ways you can use it. And if you just want to pop it on for a second, well, it won't do that. I thought maybe it would have to press, but it doesn't do that. It has to be on. So it's got on, and then you can kind of control your beam and then have to press it again for off. Sorry, didn't want to lie to you, so I checked. But super small flashlight, guys. I mean, that's not very big at all. I guess on this, it's worth a measurement. You're looking at 2¼ inches by 3/4. So not very big at all. Now, the one other drawback is this thing would have been an ideal light, in my opinion, if they would have found a way to shove a AAA battery in there. Instead, it has the, what's it say on there? It's got the LR44s. Now, some of you are going to say that's hard to find. I won't, you know, I don't ever want to use them. I don't even know how they come out of there. I may have took apart the wrong end. But there's, I want to say there's 3 of them in here. It says to replace batteries, unscrew the plastic safety retainer inside the battery compartment. Well, it doesn't really say how you're going to do that. We probably need a couple paper clips because I thought I could spin it out with my finger and it's not going to do that. But let me pause for a minute. Let me find something. Be right back. All right, we're back. On my bench, I got it's just a little screw. Let's put it in there, run it around, and maybe it'll come out of there. All right, so it's 4 of them. But one positive is when you separate all 4 of them, you know, when it doesn't come in this manufactured, you know, sealed one large unit, as you see here, there'll be separate individual batteries. When you lay those flat, you could store that in a small, you know, if you had a pouch like this, as your wallet, right? You could put 4 of these in there at the bottom if they lay flat. I mean, even like this, I mean, it doesn't take up a lot of room as far, especially if you carry your wallet in your front pocket like I do. It's not bulky. You know, it's not too bad. Especially if you have a couple cards in there, it's not going to be too bad. So, you know, and especially if they're laying flat, if you put them in a Ziploc bag that's just big enough to hold them and they're flat, you could probably carry 8 of these and have 2 different, you know, 2 different times you could change your batteries. Is a little quirky, I guess, to unscrew this little piece, but I will say that I'm going to try not to screw it in as tight as it was, so I could take it out with my finger, possibly. Now, you're going to need something. I'll tell you what, if you're carrying this, let's see if that'll do the trick. We might fix our own problem with what we have in our pockets. That'll work. All right. So, have to sell these as a pair. Buy the light, buy this screwdriver. You can use the screwdriver to take your batteries out. All right. Enough on the light, guys. If you need a small light at a decent price, this isn't a bad option to start with, right? And who knows? I mean, I carry a lot of small little lights on my keychain, on a lot of different stuff. I don't think I can get to my keychain. It's buried right now. But if I had my keychain out, I can show you. I carry a small light on it. Just to always have. I'm not replacing that light. That light does what I need it to do. It is a third backup. If I'm out of my truck and for whatever reason I took my EDC light out of my pocket or it fell out of my pocket, as long as I got my car keys, I have another light. And this thing, I think it was pretty cheap too. See, it came in at $4.75. So less than $5. Harder to find batteries, doesn't have a traditional clip, but $4.75. That's 40 lumens brighter than you have if you don't have a light, period. But we got to take that in consideration. Next thing we got is the last thing we got. This was going to be the most expensive part of our haul. And this is, it was different. I haven't seen them before and thought, you know what? Let's give it a try. So let's bust this thing open. This is the Klein Tools Flick Blade Folding Pocket Knife. One thing I did notice, it says smooth, open close action. I'll get into that part in a minute. I think it says it right here. I don't know if you can see that. So it's not horrible. A lot of these knives do not tell you what they're made out of. This one is made out of 9... Sorry, I had to put my glasses back on. I can't read that. This one's made out of 9CR13 MOV. You know, if you're looking at 8CR, there's a lot of companies that use 8CR stainless steel, notably Kershaw, CRKT, and even Spyderco. And their cheaper knife uses 8CR. And this is a 9CR13 MOV. So it's not a bad steel blade, especially for a budget. And when we say budget, yes, you can get, everybody knows, you can get the Walmart Holy Grail for $10. This is going to be a little bit bigger knife. And just as a comparison, if you're one of them people that like a little bit bigger blade or a little bit bigger handle, that's your Ozark Grail compared to the Klein Tool. Let's go ahead and we'll use this to open this while we have it on the table. And these packages, guys, I think it's so they don't want people to steal them in the stores. This is some of the hardest plastic I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's not like that real thin plastic. This stuff's stout, and I guess so you can't break it open in the store and steal the knife. You have to have the knife, most likely, to get it out of the packaging. Try not to cut any of the plastic on the knife. Definitely don't want to cut my hand on the blade. We've done that. All right, got it out of there. So you've got just the drop point design. You've got some jimping, but that's not your average jimping, if you see there. Those are 3 different gauge wire strippers. So for you electricians out there, you do-it-yourselfers, hey, you could strip 10 to 14 AWG and 12 to 16, so 12 to 14 hard wire and 12 to 16 strand wire. Yep. Right there. It acts as jimping, and it's actually pretty aggressive. Feeling it. You know, I wouldn't want to use it a lot. Like for it's not bad up here. Maybe it's just the way this one is. It's a little sharp on that corner. If you can see where they kind of diamond out. But it's not horrible. You just are going to tell, like, wow, that's some aggressive jimping. But you can use it for jimping, but I think the main purpose of it was for having 3 wire strippers. You can see the different sizes a little bit better now. Now this is right out of the box, guys. I have not done any kind of cut tests or anything with it. You saw me open the box, so we don't know how sharp it is. So we'll go to our thick paper. And guys, this is thick paper. This isn't, you know, your standard paper. This is like a journal paper, so it's a little bit thicker. So it's sharp. Is it the sharpest knife I own? No. Is it sharp enough to cut that thick paper? Yes. Can it be sharper? Of course. And the 9, you know, the 9CR is going to hold, it's going to have good edge retention. It's going to be easier to sharpen, and it should be pretty corrosion resistant. Got a place for a lanyard hole. I will say that I kind of like the feel of the handle. I have bigger hands, so this doesn't, these I've always liked. For some odd reason, they just, I guess because the handle's so long on these, feels good in the hand, but this actually has a good feeling to it. And it kind of, I don't know, it's comfortable if I'm going to use it to like shave a carpenter's pencil down with, or, you know, shave something out of wood. It's not bad. Let's look at the action. So I think it says it's quick deploy, but it doesn't come out on its own. It doesn't really shut on its own. What'd the box say? Smooth open and close. Says side button open and close release. But it doesn't really give you like a finger groove or anything like that. So is it just a simple, okay, so it's locked. It's not going to open. So press the button, then I guess you got to pull it to open. I was hoping with a single button it would be, well, maybe if we break it in. There we go. I'm trying not to hit the leg of the camera. Okay, so if you break this thing in, I'll probably have to do that a million times. But if you work it in, I think you can get it loose enough to flip. Now, one thing I noticed that it didn't say, and we're gonna have to take it apart to see. I don't know if it's on Teflon rings, if it's on, I can't even see in there, it's such a tight tolerance. It looks like it's on, they almost look like they're stainless. They don't look brass. It doesn't look Teflon. It just looks like there's washers in there. We're going to have to take that thing apart. If you're curious, I don't think it's ceramic or bearings, just the way it feels. It does feel like it's on washers. And it's a little gritty. So that could just be from, manufacturing. We'll take it apart and we'll look at it and see if we can't get that action to loosen up any. There is no play whatsoever in that blade, which is a good thing. See how she lines up out of the box. A lot like some of the Ozark knives. It's not, just throw it on the table. It's not perfectly lined up. You can see it's off to one side. I'll open it again and close it. Yep. Still referencing on that one side. A lot of people say that about these. See, it's off to one side. I have one out of 4 that's centered like that. The rest of them are slightly off to one side. This is the same way. Which makes no sense sometimes to me. Because this is like a $4 Walmart knife. And it's perfectly centered. And the rest of these little cheapy knives are the same way. They're all off to one side. Yeah. But, if this is your thing, if you're looking for something Hunter Orange, and let's just call this Hunter Orange, right? And it does say flick blade. So they wouldn't call it a flick blade if you were made to open it like this. So I think, there we go. All right. So it's starting to get a little broken now. It doesn't flick closed, but it does flick open now. Okay. So it is a flickable blade, but it doesn't, you have to force it closed. Huh? Well, I lied to you. Okay. I think if we break this in, put a little oil in there, I think we could get it to where it'll flick out decent, because it's getting better each time. So it may be a flickable, more of a button lock. But it's completely locked right now. You can't open the knife. Now, it does have a deep pocket carry clip and right hand blade down carry only. Can't change that. It's got some little warning symbols on there. I guess wear glasses and don't cut yourself. Hey, you can go watch guys from Blade Show, even some of the guys that make knives. Do me a favor, get on and watch a couple Blade Show videos. Melissa Backwoods, she's a great one. She handles knives every day. Watch one of her early Blade Show videos, or like early in the day, and then look at her closing out at the end of the last day on Sunday. She's going to have a lot of Band-Aids on her fingers. It happens. It's just what we do, right? We get to talking, flicking blades, open, closing, fidgeting. And then, you end up cutting yourself. Especially with the blades. Some of the blades that they handle there, they're super sharp. But yeah, guys, what do you think? And I'm going to tell on myself, I made a rookie mistake. I started filming this video, and my phone was like at 8%. So, battery died.
battery died.
Had to wait. Now we're back. Things happen, guys. I'm not a professional. I'm sure most of y'all know that by now. I just say it how I think it. Anyways, guys, what do you think about the little setup here? Let's kind of run over the price again, just for those that maybe didn't get them in the beginning. So we're looking at the Klein Tool Flick Blade with the 9CRV 13 at $13.48. We go to the Klein Pin, 97 cents. The 4-in-1 screwdriver for $1.78. You've got your the flashlight, which is the Lux Pro 40 lumen light, $4.75, and the Night Eyes S-Beaner that came in at $3.58. So you're looking at a grand total of $26.59. So you can start a fairly decent pocket carry built around, I would say, the knife, the carabiner, and the flashlight, with a couple options in between as far as screwdrivers go that are pocketable. Not bad for getting started. You could probably carry this in this group, seeing that it's your higher price tag, longer. These two, you could probably carry longer than anything else here. I would recommend, you know, in time, replacing this, or maybe not replacing it, adding to this. Leave this on your keychain and add you a decent, like a through light or O-light. Add you a decent higher lumen light as your pocket carry, and then keep this one as your keychain carry as a backup. This, yeah, in time, replace that with something better. And of course the pin, and you can't go wrong with F701, 301, X701 Zebras, or any you know, the O-light pin is $12. There's a lot of lower end pins you could get into, but if $26, let's say $40, if $40 is a stretch, you could get in here under $27. So that's one thing to consider, guys. You know, not everybody is going to be able to jump out there, spend $300 on an everyday carry. And that's why I did this. For the ones out there that think, man, there's just no way I can afford to get into it and you know, carry that stuff because I'm on a, you know, fixed income, I'm on retirement, whatever it may be, you could still carry what I think is a good base kit for $27. Tell me what you think, guys. I know there was a lot of stuff at Lowe's. I could have went up in price. I could have made this a $50 challenge. I could have traded this out. Could have traded the light out. Pin, carabiner. I could have traded all of this out. I probably would have kept the knife just because it is a push lock, flipper, and hey, you can strip wire with it if you need to. I probably would have kept that, especially being 9CR. Nothing wrong with that, other than you could have got one of their D2 blades, but I have two of those, and I will tell you, now that I've played with this a little bit more, I was playing with it when the camera died, it is a lot easier to open and close now. I can flick it open and flick it closed. Just had to break it in a little bit, so not bad. Not a bad knife at all. Pretty thick pocket clip, though. Anyways, let me know your thoughts, guys. This is an interactive channel. I need y'all's input. The other subscribers, the other watchers, you know, our little channel family here, they need the input. Leave comments. What would you have replaced this with? Most of you have Lowe's. What have you seen there that may have competed with the price on this? I know there's not a lot. I mean, just looking at cheap, I can't remember the name of the brand now. They're the Lowe's brand stuff. Just a regular flathead screwdriver was like $5. This was $1.78. Anyways, guys, like always, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, click all those notifications. If you feel like supporting the channel, we do have our Whitty's gear up. I was my first customer. I bought me a Whitty's hat, and I had to pay for it. They don't, just because I have a shop doesn't mean I get stuff for free. I had to pay for it as well. But I like it. So we have our gear shop. We also have a buy me a coffee, and we also have channel subscriptions. So if you feel like doing more than like, sharing, subscribing, then those are options, right? Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Love y'all. See you on the next one.